I really like this mic, man. It sounds so good.
Welcome, everyone.
First time using.
I know.
What up?
Yes.
What's up, everybody?
Some BTS.
Don't be trying to talk sexy because your man might
We
be listening.
got no. He's in class right now, and he's not my man.
There he is.
Yeah, that's right. I thought.
Thank you.
I was talking about the man upstairs.
Amen.
God.
Glory to God.
Yes.
And we thank him as we bow on our knees and pray.
Praise him. Praise him. Welcome, everybody, to the Convrs8 stream. We're on Facebook.
Cut this out of the audio.
Oh yeah. It ain't gonna be on the podcast. So
yeah, it ain't gonna be on the podcast, so you straight.
But it will be on the Facebook stream. It will be on the YouTube stream, and it will be on Twitch.
It's okay because it may come true, and then it wouldn't even matter, right? It wouldn't even matter.
Yeah, won't even matter. You know what I'm saying?
It'll be a funny story.
Yes.
They'll tell it on our true Hollywood story.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man.
I can just see the dramatic shots right now.
Turmoil.
There is only 2 years old when he picked up his first mic.
Oh my gosh.
He was preaching the gospel, but now he has a podcast.
Oh snap. Now you sound like my great aunt. You know what I'm saying? She told Siobhan, our first year of marriage, he was destined to be a preacher.
Oh, praise God.
I was like, I just pulled Siobhan and said, come on, you ain't got to talk to her too long.
I can't.
Man, so we just gonna get warmed up with our pre-topic. So we're gonna start with this lady. Well, her son wilding out here in these sneaker streets.
Oh gosh.
So y'all know the sneaker app, right?
Yeah, shoes ain't never available to you.
Right. Because it's a way to procure these rare sneakers like Jordans and certain Air Maxes and certain, other rare Nikes. There's an app set up to where basically you just tap the app, you get the shoe. But it's real difficult, as we all know, to procure these shoes. Mm-hmm. And probably one reason is that Ann Herbert, the president of the sneakers app,
scoundrel.
Former president, because she had to step down.
Mm-hmm.
She had to step down. There she is. There's the culprit. She had to step down because no, go ahead.
Oh my gosh.
She looked like she steal.
Stop it.
Like she steal.
I do not condone this message.
Not at all. But but she had to step down because there was an investigation into her son, who runs an online reselling business for shoes. And he had access to a lot of shoes, man. Probably enough to get investigated. So she had to get away from that before she probably was implicated in such dealings. But that makes me mad, man, because
same here.
You're right. These J's are hard to get. Okay, they are. I'm sick of taking L's on these sneaker apps. I'm sick of taking L's on these sneaker apps, man. What were you about to say, Darius?
Yo, I took a hard L on them black and gold joints. Like I knew I stayed up. I got up early and I was like, these joints gonna drop. I already got the money. I'm finna get these joints right now. As soon as they drop, bro, I went to the website and them joints didn't even procure. They were just like sold out. I was just like, already? I know I'm the first person up in the world.
Jasmine, you about to?
And I was just like, dang, man.
I said we've had luck once. We got our breads on there. Like, was it like 2 Christmases ago? It might have been last year. But ever since then, like we haven't been able to secure any other thing.
Man, but if let me tell y'all something. She's kind of being modest about her victory. So not only did she get a pair of breads, she got 2 pairs. They got a couple's pair of breads. Like for one household to get 2 pair of Jordans off that app is a miracle, and they got it. And so if that's the only victory they have, that is the greatest victory you can get. I just want to say that.
Yeah, I'm not much of a sneaker person, but I did read about it. So it's crazy how that all went down. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, because like look at this, look at this guy. Look at this guy. I want y'all to see this. I want y'all to see this haul. Look at this man.
This is ridiculous.
Those are those are 50 pairs that I can't get because this guy, he's got it.
He got my husband University Blues in there somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, Jasmine. He's got your cool grays in there.
Hey,
he's got your cool grays that you're trying to get.
Man,
I'll be so hurt if I cannot get them.
That's crazy.
I'm trying to get those Flint Reds for my wife as well, man. Like, I want some too, but I got realistic expectations.
Yeah, I feel like y'all just gonna have to school me on the sneaker game because I'm just very basic when it comes to shoes.
Nah, Mela, you probably make your own shoes. You probably design and make your own shoes. Man.
I wish.
Man, but all right, so while we're here warming up, let's just get into it. Coming to America came out on Amazon the other week, and I just want some quick reactions here because there have been mixed reactions and from comical to opinions I respect. So let's just get into it.
Yeah, I guess you have to think about it from a perspective. What are you about to say, DJ? Nothing? Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I guess you have to. Well, so I looked at the first one before looking at the second one, right? And so I guess my thing was like I had to go into it because before I watched it, everybody watched it before I did. So I was like, getting the mixed reviews on Facebook and things like that. So I guess I had to really come in it with like, after looking at the trailer, I already kind of knew it wasn't going to be the exact same as the first one. I was looking forward to maybe kind of, one, I wanted to see how they were going to keep the wife of the king intact because, she passed away in 1995. But then also I was wanting to see like, what are some of the things that, didn't continue from the first one that was going to premiere here. Now, I did feel like it was more of a musical than it was like a movie. But I wasn't like appalled by it. Like I enjoyed it. There were some parts where I feel like it was unnecessary. And then just as a filmmaker myself, there were just some things that just didn't make sense. Like when he cut off the whiskers, and then the next scene was him holding the whiskers and it was not the same whiskers. Somebody cut off some broom bristles. So it's just like little things like that. I'm just like, come on, y'all. Like he literally had 3 strings in his hand in the scene before, and you got this whole full bristle of a broom.
Nah, see, you don't understand anything.
What?
See what it was a collection of bristles from all the other kings.
No.
He just added to it.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? Yes.
I think you went too far.
Yes.
No, I did not.
Okay, I was landed on too, it. Before
you people don't want to accept greatness.
No. My favorite parts was, this is a spoiler, so if you have not watched it, at this point it's
dang, Mela, savage. All right, I mean it's on Amazon.
Yeah, Mela, do it, Mela. That's right.
I love the part when in the beginning when the woman's family came in and she was still hopping on one leg and barking. That joke was so funny.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
The other part was just like was funny to me. It was like literally he looked at the prince and was like, "I'm going to die now," and he literally died.
Oh yeah, He died all right, so King Joffrey's dying, right? Because he's old, James Earl Jones. And he was just like, he got to see his own funeral and then perfectly died at the end of the funeral.
I looked at Siobhan and said, that's how I'm going to die.
But did you hear what the choir was saying in the background?
Did you hear Morgan Freeman?
Oh, God. He said, nobody's going to have sex anymore.
Morgan Freeman going to do my eulogy. Bruh, I'm telling you, Morgan Freeman going to do my eulogy. I know he's still going to be alive.
Yeah, but the bloopers of that same scene was hilarious. Oh gosh.
Did y'all appreciate the cameos? I like the cameos.
I did.
Yeah,
I absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
I even love Mutombo making an appearance. You know,
I know that was
I'm a Hawks fan, so that's a big deal for me. You know,
that
was cool. You know, so I'm reading the comments from the viewers. Like, he's like, I hated it when he grabbed the mic to rap. I cringed. You know what I mean? So, maybe because it wasn't expected. I mean, I'll admit that a lot of the stuff wasn't expected, but I appreciated it nonetheless. I mean, my reaction to it was basically there was no way they were going to replicate 30 years ago.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons. First of all, you can't do the comedy that you used to be able to do. But not only that, Eddie was more directly involved with the last one. He probably was not as directly involved with the writing of this one.
Yeah.
The new crop of artists, of writers, which I appreciate, because you want some new blood in there. So you take the good and you take the bad, and it's a good little pizza. It's a good little, good little movie.
Yeah. Yeah. But what do you think about the guy, the Lavelle? Do you feel like he fit the role?
I
didn't feel like
I watched that movie.
I feel like he was good up until the point where he was talking to his barber or whatever, and it was like they were talking about something, and then he just abruptly got up and was like, da, 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 and I'm just like, y'all were literally just laughing, and you just broke out into this abrupt anger about your father, and then she tells the most dramatic story about how Prince Hakeem met Lisa, and it just like, I was just, at this point, I'm just like, okay, this just escalated a little too fast. At this point, I already knew from the jump, like, they were going to end up being together, and it was going to be a little bit similar to the same.
I didn't see that coming.
I saw it.
From that, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I saw it coming. Anytime somebody do your hair, they going to be your girlfriend. If it's a woman. That's why only men barbers cut my hair. You know what I'm saying? Just like my wife do my dreads. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew that when she cut the rat tail off, I was like, man.
Oh, freedom at last.
Yeah, she about to be that dude woman. Because then I like, it ain't no way he gonna be with Tiana Taylor. She gonna beat him to death. You know what I'm saying? Tiana Taylor look like Tiana Taylor looked like a MMA fighter out there. I was like, you marry her, she gonna beat you to death.
Darius, I cannot, man.
Hey, man.
I'm
telling you, like I told Miss Vaughn watching that Coming to America too. I said, hey, man, if Tiana Taylor try to fight me on the street, I'm shooting her. I'm just like, I ain't finna go there. She look too in shape. I ain't got time for that. I'm 37. It'll be 38. Popping her kneecaps out. Bop, bop.
See, we are nice and warmed up now. There's busting caps.
I will say this before we move forward. I did appreciate that they kind of put in the in between in the same scenes from like the first one. Like, I always wanted to know like what happened. Like
how did this come to be?
Right, but I knew they had to add something to get to the whole like the child that he had, the son, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But like, I wonder if that would have been necessary if there was no need for a son. You know what I'm saying? Like, was there a need for I mean, I appreciated it for the sake of the story, but I don't think that would ever be something that they had to go back to if that wasn't like the case. But I did appreciate it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then Another comment: why these mashed potatoes black?
Oh my God,
bruh, man! I'm telling you.
And
Hey,
then
man, I feel Leslie did a job. She did a thing.
Oh, yeah.
She did her job.
She was funny.
She did.
Wesley Snipes too.
Oh yeah.
Well, Wesley Snipes did his thing too,
Yeah,
man.
he
Oh
did.
yeah.
Bruh.
Oh
Wesley
man,
Snipes was so funny, bruh.
I mean,
He had me screaming. He had me screaming "Azee!" the whole night. I was just like, yo, that's the funniest thing I ever heard somebody scream in my life.
But the guy from Power, y'all, with the lock.
oh, Rotimi. Oh, I was like, Rotimi, bro. Why? Why did you do
God,
that?
why?
Come on.
That Joker had the Nilly Vanillis, yo.
Exactly. Oh my goodness, it was so funny. I was looking at him like, who is this? Who is this?
I know him.
The guy from Power, really? Oh my God. This big nose, these freaking locks. He just acting so feminine. It was hard to watch. It was hard to watch.
Man. My favorite throwaway laugh of the whole movie is Wesley Snipes' army training with them shake weights.
Oh, and the Dance Revolution.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I was done. I was like, that's funny. All right, that's funny. I'm into this now.
It was the Dance Revolution that took me out. I'm just like these people are really playing Dance Revolution as a training.
Oh, that's right.
Bruh, yeah.
Oh gosh, that was funny. It was good. I give it like an 8.
Mission accomplished. It was funny. Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
It was like a love letter to the old one.
Right, it was.
Yeah.
I just say that.
It was just an homage.
But Mika?
Oh. Yes. Yeah. She wants to be Storm, guys. Like we've said,
and she needs to be
her audition.
That was her audition.
She can be Storm. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't watch her be in the old guard. You know what I'm saying? And this right here, I'm like, yo, if they don't consider her for Storm, burn MCU down.
Oh man! And then somebody asked, "How the barber's still alive?"
Yeah, how Morgan Freeman's still alive?
Right?
Because they got
Morgan Freeman.
I'm gonna tell you how they're alive. I'm gonna tell you how they're alive.
How so?
Because Eddie Murphy character from Vampire in Brooklyn bit him, so they like vampire henchmen. You know what I'm saying? So, but they work as barbers. But they got blade blood from Wesley Snipes, so they can work during the daytime.
How long did it take you to think about that?
Yeah, that's what I got.
I promise you.
Yeah,
that's right now. You had that
ready, Darius. You had that ready.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't have it.
That was on the spot.
I didn't have it. That was on the spot. That's straight out the dome. You know what I'm saying? Cause just like I think, like I tell people all the time. Morgan Freeman, a vampire. You know what I'm saying? What's that dude named Skateboard P? He a vampire. You know what I'm saying? All them people gonna live forever. That's how I know Morgan Freeman gonna do my eulogy. Because, and I'm gonna fade away and I'm gonna just wave bye-bye when everybody be like, hey, it's so sad. I'm like,
Pharrell, I just realized you're talking about Pharrell Williams, Skateboard P.
Yeah.
If you do that, Darius, oh my gosh, it'll be the most memorable funeral I ever did. I'll be crying and laughing at the same time. I'll be so
I'm gonna say bye-bye now, y'all.
Oh man, so Coming to America, it was a funny movie. So
I'm done.
You know that warmed us
and
up.
Lorenz Tate. That's right. Lorenz Tate, a vampire too.
He's a vampire too. He's a vampire.
Yeah, that dude aging back. He look like old dog still.
He does. He looks more old dog now than he did.
If he get some of these right here, he could play in Menace to Society 3.
Menace 3 Society. There you go.
I mean 2. Yeah, Menace. Yeah, I'm sleeping, man.
Oh man. So now that we're warmed up, we're just gonna get into the intro. So we're gonna see you guys at the other side of the bump.
And we back. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Darius J.
And I'm Stevie Neal.
And it's your girl Mela G.
With special guest
Jasmine Brown.
And this is
Convrs8.
Let's talk about it.
All right.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? We back one more time for the one more time to do it again.
Right. Episode 56.
How you living? How y'all living out there? You know what I'm saying? Tell us in the comments how y'all living while we talk about how we live.
That's right.
How you living, Mela G?
I'm living really, really well. Wow. Geez, this is like, the spring is here, and the pollen is, I feel like forming. So, but anyways, I've been living well. I've paid off my third credit card, y'all. I'm just out here being financially responsible, and it just feels amazing. But no, I am really, really, super encouraged in the season. I feel like I put a post out there last night, and it was just very random, spontaneous. I was pretty late, and I was just kind of really reflecting on how much I've been evolving like over this past year, in my career as a woman, as a daughter of Christ, just really learning more and more about myself. As you may know, I think I have said this to those who are listening into you guys as well. I took therapy very, very seriously last year, unpacking my trauma, really going through this healing process on a journey to wholeness, in my relationships with my parents, in my relationship with friends, people who I have not talked to in a long time, really going through this forgiveness stage. I'm actually attending this Bible study called The Bait of Satan. And basically, we're talking about like offenses and how that really distracts us from our relationship with God and how that affects our relationship with God, being offended. And it really caused me to go within myself, pray to God to reveal who and what I've been offended by. And it's been pretty yucky. But being able to write letters to those who I felt offended by, and now going through this process of forgiveness. But with in mind, like just because you choose to forgive someone doesn't mean that relationship has to be restored. And so just wondering, like praying through what that looks like, praying through, okay, when I forgive this person, because I'm supposed to forgive because, this is what God has instructed me to do. But what does that look like if we don't necessarily want the restoration of that friendship? So that's been something I'm learning this season, is just learning to forgive like God has called me to forgive. And then like figuring out what that looks like once once I decide to do that. So yeah, it's been good. Like it's been good lately.
Awesome. Cool beans. That's good, man. I mean, therapy is everything. I'm trying to get into it. We all trying to get into it in our own special ways. We'll talk about that more in a bit. But how you living, special guest, Jasmine Brown?
Hey, y'all. I am living well also. I think, y'all know I'm a social worker, obviously. It's social work month, so I've been enjoying all the perks of that. But I'm living well, being a essential worker, if you will, in a medical hospital. Has been a challenge in this season of life, but I'm also very grateful for this season of life. So I'll talk more about the social work stuff later, but I think this season has just caused me to push forward more so than I was before, and to not make so many excuses as I was before. 2020 really taught me time is not a thing. I have to appreciate what I have. I have to, be there, be present for myself, for my husband, for our daughter. And I have to, live in the moment now, because I don't know how long any of us has left. So I would say in the season, Obviously there's been a lot of growing pains. My husband and I are different in the fact that like when the pandemic started, like he is a homebody and I am very much like, get me out of here. So that has been like a transition. But I feel like our marriage has grown in this season. I feel like us as parents, we've grown in this season. And so it's just been beautiful to see like what God has done through that. I feel like my friendships have grown through this. And so I'm just grateful for like the time that we've had to like press pause and just really enjoy like what he's given us without all the like the hustle and bustle. Like,
yeah, that's awesome.
Awesome. So how am I living? Good. I guess. I'm sorry, I didn't
okay,
that was not on purpose.
I guess it's me.
I didn't do that on purpose.
Stephen Neal, how are you living? Well, I guess.
But I just want to thank everybody for the feedback. The feedback is coming in. It's beautiful. Sorry, I was just kind of getting in the host mode and I forgot I'm the one who's supposed to be speaking. But that being said, how am I living? Well,
yeah.
So this past weekend, me and a couple of the guys treated our wives. So me, Russell B, Jasmine's husband, and Chris Dorellis, husband of Brianna Dorellis. They've both been on this show as well. We surprised our wives with girls' getaway day yesterday. So we got them.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah. So a hotel suite. So we got them a hotel suite. So they don't have to worry about the kids or us even, you know what I mean? Just have some girl time together in a hotel suite, get something to eat, bring it back to the hotel, So we set up that surprise. It was like a few weeks in the making. Dorellis,
sneaky devils.
My friends keep me young in this marriage thing, man. Almost 9 years in, so you got to keep it fresh. You keep dating your wife. So.
Oh, that's sweet, guys.
So that's what I.
Bet. I was sitting there like I saw the story on Instagram and I was just like, what did they do? That's beautiful.
and just the last few weeks, I mentioned it before in my How You Living, that I was working on this office. So this is what it looks like now. It's a quantum leap from last month. Me and Britt painted this, and then we just picked out certain things to go in here, and then of course the recording studio.
Yes.
As promised, got the panels up. I need a few more. But then just to get all hooked up and ready to go. But yeah, man.
That's amazing.
It's happening. Come
on. I'm ready to come visit.
I'm ready for y'all to come visit. Work in here, have fun in here, I'm ready for all of that. So that is how I've been living. So how have you been living? There he is, Jake.
What's up? I've been living pretty good. But
I can't, man. What's going on?
I've been living pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I can't complain. I've been kind of like on the same journey as Miller went on last year. I'm going through it this year. And I paid the IRS off, man. I was like,
come on, yeah.
Hey,
my mistake I made when I was young, listening to a dude that drove a Mercedes, did not make sense. But glad I'm done with that. You know what I'm saying? Because that was a thorn in my side that I was so relieved to have pulled away. Just been growing. Been taking a mastermind class, you know what I'm saying, given to one of my good friends, my brother, Coach Jack, just talking about the 15 invaluable laws of growth. I would recommend that book to anybody. You know what I'm saying? That book has been helping me grow leaps and bounds, you know what I'm saying, these past couple months. Because I kind of felt like even like what Jazz was talking about on the sermon today, was talking about how how we just kind of got lethargic, you know what I'm saying, in the past year and stuff like that, and kind of just forgetting to live. We just got into this mode of going through the same thing, doing it: eat, sleep, work, eat, sleep, work, sleep, eat. You know what I'm saying? And trying to break that cycle, you know what I'm saying, and go back into just really living, and you know what I'm saying, living a purposeful life again. Because at first I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna keep going through it, and then some things happened, and that just it knocked me off my feet for real. Like I was just like taken aback and really didn't want to get up, and then I was just like, well, I guess I'm gonna just settle right here. But you know what I'm saying, God being God, He started placing people around me to encourage me to get back up, look at myself the way God sees me, and to operate, you know what I'm saying, in the gifts that He has given me. So therefore, I got back up on the horse, started riding again. You know what I'm saying? It's been a journey this past year. I did not think about how much it affected me at first. You know what I'm saying? It didn't take to like counseling and stuff like that I was just like, dang, this stuff really did take an effect on me. Like I didn't notice it, you know what I'm saying? But then after, you know, hindsight being 2020, you start to see like, man, you're not operating at the level that you used to. And like I tell anybody, I challenge you to look in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like take a deep look, be reflective, and figure yourself out. Take some time to figure out where you are in the present as of right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you got goals, if you got dreams, put them things on paper and be realistic about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't be, you know, because sometimes we see stuff and we want to do stuff and we just go about it and just be whimsical. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be realistic with your goals and give yourself a realistic time frame, or else you will set yourself up to fail.
Yeah.
But that's how I've been living.
Come on, Darius. All right, everybody living pretty well here.
That's good. That's good. I got a few more comments saying people are going to be cutting some demos, spitting some bars. So it's like, okay, I know what I have to do now. I have to get this in my ledger. I need to get some studio time set up.
Basically,
you know what I'm saying? I need to, you know, start another business. How about
Booking
that?
starts today.
Today.
Sign up in the comments.
Well, not today, but soon.
Right.
come over to LSG Studio.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on, get your voice work done.
That's right. I'm about to collaborate with some folks. But so we're gonna get into the show today. So we're gonna start with cancellations. We're gonna talk about a couple of them. We're gonna start with one, Pepe Le Pew.
Oh boy.
All right. So recently it was announced that Pepe is not going to be in the latest Space Jam coming out in July. And that started a conversation about maybe problematic actions on his part as a character, as a Looney Tune. If you're familiar with the Looney Tune catalog, you're familiar with Pepe Le Pew and you know, just how he kind of gets down. So we're here to, we're here to discuss that. You know, was this cancellation warranted? We'll give you some context too as to what everybody's talking about, but also was this cancellation warranted? Is there a deeper conversation that needs to be had? So I'll start with you guys, you know, because I'm a Looney Tunes fan. Like I've been deep into these characters for pretty much my whole life, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't know what article you guys read to just, I guess, get the gist of the context, but the one that I read was basically the scene that they intended on putting in Space Jam 2.
Yes. I did read that one too.
So basically the scene kind of went something like, you know, Pepe was talking to this woman, you know, with basically spitting game, played by this actress called Santo, which is her last name is Santo.
Right.
And basically the scene kind of escalated to him kind of doing too much, and she, you know, the character in the movie slapped Pepe, and you know it was just kind of like domestic, I guess. And so the actress who plays the female that Pepe is talking to has experience of being sexually harassed. And she has spoken out about it. Now, this is the article that I did read. So, so basically, I guess she wasn't comfortable with the scene, and so that's why it was taken out. But I could be wrong. I don't know what you guys read, but that's what I read, and I do feel like that raises questions for me. I mean, as far as like if that's something that's being played out on, and that's something that affects her in that way, it'd probably be kind of hard for her to process. But then at that point, why don't you just rewrite his character and let him, you know, like still be a part of it for nostalgic reasons,
Right.
and just change the context of whatever was originally going to be put into the show. Like that's, I just like, why just take it all the way out? Just rewrite the character, you know. But hey, that's my thoughts. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, like I don't feel like it had to go to the extreme of it being him canceled all the way.
I read an article in a similar vein in USA Today, but I want everybody else to give this more context. What about you guys?
I saw you making faces, Darius.
Yeah, you're rubbing your hands. You're
All right. Okay. How about you know what I'm saying? Hey man, I'm just saying, bro. Like,
Oh my god!
all right, man. All right. This is how I feel about it. I read that article too, Melon. You know what I'm saying? And I feel just like you.
Yeah.
Why not just rewrite the character? You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like, it
Yeah.
didn't have to be like that. You understand that Pepe Le Pew did not make the decision to do that.
Right.
It ain't like Pepe Le Pew is not walking around out here making executive decisions. You know what
He
I'm
is
saying?
holding a
All
press
that-
conference right now and demands.
Exactly. You know, like he's not real. The person that wrote that part is the person that need to be added. But Pepe Le Pew ain't did nothing to hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to go back to, because some people went all the way back to the cartoon, you know, back
Right.
early Looney Tunes, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, Pepe Le Pew didn't do that. They wrote
Right.
that man to be like that.
Exactly.
It ain't like Pepe Le Pew had a decision to say, you know what? I want to be attracted to a cat with a stripe down his back. And I want to continually chase this cat that I think is a skunk.
Oh my god!
Trying to be with it. But just like one comedian, I'm telling you, one comedian, me and him had the same sentiment. I was like, I ain't even, you know, I just thought Pepe Le Pew just taught me if you stink and you over aggressive, you ain't gonna get the girl. That's what I got from Pepe Le Pew now, you know, like, hey, if you stink and you don't take no baths and you over aggressive, you won't get the girl. You know what I'm saying? And clearly that's the case still, because they still writing him like that. You know what I'm saying? With the girl that was in the movie, and he was just like, hey, overly aggressive. She didn't even feel comfortable with the cartoon. So like it's like it's a green screen. Like, how did she feel uncomfortable by a blank space? I don't understand. But anyway.
All right. So
my take on too.
I mean, those are all good points. Jasmine, I want you to chime in before I kind of.
Sure. So I didn't read the article like about the whole like Space Jam situation, but as far as like, you know, knowing about Pepe Le Pew just from like childhood purposes, I don't have vivid memories of that. But as far like I watched some of the like cartoons recently, just to, like see, you know, what was going on, and I do think that there is a larger conversation that needs to be had, like about what, you know, kids are exposed to, like as far as, you know, this him, you know, chasing after this cat, you know, and him basically like, you know, there's one scene where he's like, she's like trying to get away from him and he's like locking the door, or, you know, trying to just continue to like chase after her. And she is clearly like, I'm not interested.
Right.
So I think when you think deeper into it and take out like the funny, like cartoon aspect of it, I think, yes, there is a larger conversation that needs to be had. Now, where that conversation needs to take place, I don't know. Like, you know, having a young daughter, like those are kind of conversations that we would have for her. Like, I wouldn't want some guy treating her that way. Again, some of these conversations need to take place in your house, and then there are some that need to take place like in society as a whole, about how women are treated.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. And I know that, like I said, I've watched a lot of these Looney Tunes. So I'm very familiar with pretty much all the Pepe Le Pew episodes, you know, that were made like in the, you know, 40s, 50s, and what have you. So basically, the character romances a cat that he thinks is another skunk, because in every episode, the cat character, the female cat character, always comes into some white paint down her back. It always seems to happen, and then it's a go.
That means she must be on drugs.
What? But so I can see the dynamic there that probably could be problematic as a whole. But I did read an article in USA Today about how the scene was cut. Now, the scene had the movie had a different director before when they shot that scene. And then Malcolm D. Lee took over the project, and that scene was cut. The particular article that I read in USA Today made it seem like, well, the scene just didn't have much continuity, so they cut it. And so it was cut before this conversation, you know, took root. But at the end of the day, there is a bigger conversation to have, because I remember watching those cartoons, and while it was very clear, Darius made a good point. It was very clear that, okay, he stunk, he's coming on too strong, so he doesn't get the girl. And that's the overall message. But I admit, kind of like maybe 6-7-year-old me thinking it was funny. You know, it's all right to kind of, you know, annoy someone you like a little bit to get their attention. So,
yeah. I mean, like Brianna said, I'm like monitoring who's who on the Facebook account. But this is Brianna, and she says, when Reese sees these old cartoons, I would literally say this is or this isn't right, and that's what everything she gets exposed to. And I kind of, when I think about that, I don't have kids of my own, but I love kids, so I love everybody kids. You know, I'm like Auntie Mella. But when kids look at cartoons, they're not really looking for subliminal messaging, right? They're just enjoying, like if you think about like a Tom and Jerry, you know, like they just chasing each other. They're just a cat chasing a mouse around, and they just have like these different things. But I feel like creators know that parents are typically watching these cartoons with these kids, so it's almost they have to add something into it to make it entertaining for the adult, right? So there's things that we will see as adults that won't necessarily stand out to the child, because they're just laughing because, oh, that's funny. You know, the way that character did that, or the way that it was animated, you know, it was funny. I'm not really thinking of it as like domestic violence or sexual harassment or, you know, things like that where we can see it. So it's like, you know, I think there's things, I think it should not be like overlooked for sure, because these are things that happen in real life. And just the way that society is, we're very sensitive. We just came out a very rough year. You know, there's a lot of things that have been, you know, exposed, like from a political standpoint, from just people in leadership, from just day-to-day basis, day-to-day conversations that we have with just people. And I think these are conversations that should not be overlooked. But like, I mean, like, you know, Brianna said, it's just that these are just things that we're just going to have to explain. It's like, I know that's funny to you, but let me really like open up this dialogue so that you help you better understand the world that you're coming into. Because I don't think that even as children, we're properly prepared for, you know, society, how it treats us, how it views us, especially as Black African-American men and women. You know, but outside of that, you know, just societal problems, just how society sees women, just how society sees men, and these different instances that are emphasized. to a point where men can be demasculated, women just like they're not a woman if da 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 da, like these stereotypes that are created. So I think these are very important conversations to have in your household to help prepare your children for the world, so they're not just blindsided. But I don't think it's as serious, to a point where you just completely cancel a character because it's something like like you said, it's my childhood. But I get the reason why. But why not just rewrite it? That's where I go back to. But yeah.
Right. Darius?
I feel like that too as well. I feel like as society we getting too comfortable with just everything being wiped away, but nobody is really not, like you said, not having conversations and explaining things. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't expect everybody on the outside to police the world and get us into a place where just everything is perfect. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom did a good job of just really just telling me like, hey, the world ugly outside. This what this stuff mean. This what it doesn't mean. This what you don't do. This what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like we often see in society that nobody is really ready to have the conversation or just avoid it altogether. And it's kind of, to me, it makes me just think that like, man, nobody want to take responsibility for their children's lives or anything, because if you really love your kids, you will explain and give them a fighting chance and the ideas and the knowing of the outside world. You don't just keep them insulated. You know what I'm saying? You will give them the knowledge in order to walk outside and be safe. You know what I'm saying? Know how to walk away from foolishness. Know what stuff ain't for you and know what stuff is for you. You can't protect them from everything. And I mean, if you want to just totally wipe out everything, if we want to cancel everything, all us going to be eventually canceled, because we're going to one day say something that nobody likes. You know what I'm saying? And I know my personality I feel like I'd be canceled if I would get pop off and be famous for real. They'd be like, hey man, you seen that Facebook post there Jay put on there? Cancel him. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't think everybody deserves to be canceled just because of, because like I tell people, some ways my grandma think it just ain't kosher. And I tell her that when we're around each other, but I was like, you can't say that out loud, grandma. You know what I'm saying? That ain't right. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, and I appreciate this conversation, because while 7-year-old me could say, okay, this was pretty funny, I understand when a conversation is had, like, all right, I see how that can be for so many other people. So, and I do also appreciate what was put out in this conversation, that we can't completely erase problematic things. Oh man, yeah, I just read a.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God. But yeah, we can't completely erase problematic things, because then how will we
My family are riot. I'm going to tell you that right now.
How will we learn? How will we learn that it is problematic? Like I say this all the time with Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, if you don't tell your kids about Freddy, how will they defend themselves against Freddy? You're making them more vulnerable when they don't know how to fight.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So we need to give kids the tools to be like, okay, this is gonna come up.
Yeah.
So how will you deal with this problematic situation?
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's cool.
Good. Yeah.
So speaking of cancellations, we're going to kind of impromptu bridge into another situation that has recently come up this weekend.
I'm excited to see what the comment section is like. I'm just excited.
So Mr. Kirk Franklin apparently
you want a revolution?
Tore his kid a new one.
Listen here.
And his kid leaked the conversation or the details of the conversation. I need to know what y'all think about this, because this just came to my sensibilities. So I need to know.
Franklin told y'all.
He woke up and chose violence that day, man.
Hey, man,
He-
Kurt Franklin showed y'all he ain't no punk. He ain't no
Whoa.
punk. He let y'all know. Hey. Oh. Do you want a revolution?
Whoop,
Hey,
whoop.
he'll
Whoop
finna
that
send his son
tail.
to the
Whoop,
king.
whoop that tail.
Oh yes, stomp, all right. Shoot.
Yeah, shoot, stomp it out.
Hey.
Shoot.
Stomp a mud hole.
Okay, so I didn't find out about this until last night. I don't know when it was leaked or anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was like I found out last night. I was like, wait a minute, what? And so I'm over here just like, twindling, like, where's this original video? His name is Carry On. How do you spell that? Is it carry on, like a carry on bag? Or is it like, I'm just over here like trying to figure out where this thing is. I'm listening to it. I was like, wow. Okay, like, we all sin and fall short of the glory of the Lord, but that was a lot to take in. And so I'm not going to cancel him. Kurt Franklin is hands down probably one of my favorite gospel artists, whether he's talking or whether he tried to attempt to sing. I'm not going to cancel him. But I will say there's something that I saw underneath his apology video that he put out. I don't know if you saw it, but everybody, for the most part, the comments were pretty much the same. Of like, oh, we forgive you, we got your back, blah, 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 blah. But there was one specific comment where it's like, I'm tired of people taking up for people in leadership who, make these mistakes and aren't held accountable. And in regards to, okay, I get it, right? He has this big platform. And so, like, the message was leaked. So, I just feel like people who have this platform, they can't get away from it. As if me and Darius was to get into an encounter, I don't feel like it would be as escalated as that. Even if it was leaked, maybe people in the path will be concerned, but that's probably how far it will go. The whole world would not know unless people just shared it that many times and was entertained. But anywho, I say this to say that I don't feel like I appreciate him for apologizing to us, but the person he needs to be apologizing to is his son. Right. Like, I'm not sure of that was just a piece of whatever they've been dealing with. As he said, it has been a toxic relationship that they've been trying to deal with for the past 30 plus years. And I'm just, at this point, it's like, well, somebody need to remove themselves from this, because I don't know how it is. Like, I'm not a parent, so I'm interested to hear, perspective from a parent. But, for me, I'm just like, I don't care what you are, how you related to me. If it's toxic, I'm gonna love you, but I'm not gonna choose to continue to actively participate in this relationship if it's gonna bring me that much pain, stress, worry. I'm gonna pray for you. God loves you. I hope, I'm gonna love you the best. I'm gonna love you the way that God has called me to love you, despite the whatever. Because I don't even know whose side of the story. It's just pretty much his side. Well, there's no side of a story. It's just people, they just cussing each other out pretty much. And it's probably, then he said in his apology that they actually called the therapist, which that was a part that was not played in the recording that was leaked. So I don't know if it was resolved. So it's just we only have pieces, that's all we have to go off. But
I do appreciate all the information that you were able to gather so quickly. This is amazing. Because I, like I said, I didn't have much context into it. I just heard about bits and pieces and statuses and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Appreciate the update. So the parent among us, what is your take on this? I'm curious. I'm excited.
So we have not been parents very long, so let's just be clear. We only been in this 2.5 years. But, so to Bella's point, I'm not canceling Kirk. I love Kirk.
They ain't had to deal with no teenager yet.
Yeah, Zoe's not a teenager or an adult.
Right, she's Zoe.
So I'm not canceling Kirk. I will say that we don't have context, so we hear their banter back and forth, but we don't hear what the actual issue is. And so, which honestly, that's none of my business. Right. So I feel like for them to be speaking to each other in this way, there is a lot of history there that we don't know. And so obviously Kirk is saying, you know, we have talked to the therapist, we've been having issues with him and vice versa for many years. And so this time it just so happened to be recorded for the world to hear. Now, I do have a problem with the son. I think he's like around my age. Like he's 33, I think.
Yeah,
so
33.
Like, why are you recording, you know, you and your father's conversation, for one? I don't feel like that was really appropriate. Like, what was the purpose of that? Like, were you recording him to share it with the world? Were you recording him so that when you go back to the therapist, like you have some tangible proof? Like, what was the reasoning behind that? Because I feel like that's shady. Also, like if I'm having a conversation with teenage Zoe, like I wouldn't want her to like. There's no need for that. Like, why are we recording it? But I just feel like there's just so much we don't know. There's so much history there. I feel like both of them are hurting. I feel like they both need to have their individual help. And to Mela's point, like as a parent, like, you know, just from seeing like my mom grow up with her 9 siblings and hearing stories like that my grandma has told, like she is very clear, like as a parent, you do everything that you can. Like you try to instill good morals and values into your children. But at the end of the day, when they're an adult, they get to make their own decisions. Like the same for Zoe. Like Russ and I work diligently together to try to come up with how we want her to be raised, like what we want her to believe and know. But at the end of the day, when she's 25, she gets to make those decisions herself, whether or not we like them or not. And so I think if it's a situation like this where it's so toxic, like it may not be something as a parent that I would want to do, but if it's to the point where you are causing me such distress, I might have to love you from a distance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that hurts and that sucks.
Yeah.
But
yeah, absolutely.
It might have to be like that.
Yeah. Someone says he don't need to apologize to no one, especially his son. His son needs to come correct and get done.
All he has to do.
What y'all think about that, though?
All right, I first want to say
something. He don't need to do now. Run them knuckles across his son's jaw.
I want to say this. I did not know that this was a grown man doing this. I thought Carry On was maybe a kid on Instagram doing this. I didn't know he was like us grown. Like at this big age.
Right.
He grown.
You know,
he big grown.
So inexcusable. He did this for clout. Like his Instagram follows jumped by thousands after this.
Yes, it did.
So it's terrible. It's terrible. Yeah. I don't like it.
Hey,
absolutely.
Hey man, let me tell you something. He should make the Stomp remix the third on his son's jaw. Stomp his ears together. That's what his son sound like he need for that. You know what I'm saying? Display a suckery that he did with recording his father. You know what I'm saying? I understand you. See, that let me know that the son might be deprived from attention. He need to be at a therapist. Laying on his back, confessing his hurts and pains. You know what I'm saying? And after that, let Kurt Franklin put on some boxing gloves, put a gold grill in, and take it to him North Texas style. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Because even in the apology with Kurt Franklin was filming, he looked like he just got through fight. It looked, I like that joker looked like he just got through fight. You know what I'm saying?
It looked like he was he still at his ankle. It's
you know what I'm saying? Because I was like, he looked like he been through it.
He did. I thought I was the only one who thought that. That's the good point.
I was looking at the video. I like, bro, he looked like he might have just beat his son up.
He look tired. I'm tired, boss. That's
what I'm saying.
If I'm tired, boss was a person, that's definitely what he was.
I'm tired of dealing with these kids.
Oh gosh.
What cameraman that saying take me to the king because I need him right now.
Oh man. So we're gonna use that as a nice little bridge to just someone else who felt neglected, who felt injustice was thrust upon her by her family. We're going to talk about Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
And the royal family.
Woo.
So that interview with Oprah. Oh,
oh my God.
Darius led the conversation.
I'm just Darius. What the heck?
Where'd he go?
He's coming back.
Oh my God, I am done.
Darius said this too much.
This too much. I just want to say before we get into the meat of the conversation in regards to Meghan, Oprah had me rolling with her freaking
reaction.
Yes.
Really?
What?
This is my favorite.
You, the prince?
Aren't you the princess?
Darius J literally did a magic trick.
Yeah. Like we are doing this video, so it helps us talk, and he just dipped out. He closed his window.
He just I'm out. I can't. Well, hopefully.
All right, no. We're joking. We're joking. He's got some things going on, but all right. Okay. Technically.
Yeah, technical.
He'll get back to us.
Okay, cool. So I'll dive in. So basically, I don't really follow the Royals that much. I think the first and last time that I heard anything about them was when they got married. Didn't watch that either. I'm just not I'm not into it like that. I know a lot of people watch The Crown, never knew what that was until the interview. I'm just I'm really not connected to social media. Well, I am, but just what I care about really, and it's not the Royals. But anyways, it was an interesting interview to watch. Just to see how the royal family was treating her way before they even got married, to my understanding. And I do know she's fair skinned, so it's she doesn't come off as immediately this African American woman. So and I just colorism, all that stuff. So I think what upset me the most about the conversation was the fact that they were taking all these things away based on skin color and just how enwrapped they were with the news people. I don't know what you call them.
Paparazzi tabloid.
The tabloids and how most of this was staged, like finding out stories that was put out there that was targeted at Meg to make her look like this bad person. Which I was just wow, it just made me think about the lengths people are willing to go to keep their image intact. It's just it's almost like when something is revealed to you, you can't unsee it, you can't unlearn it. It's it, and at that point, it changes the trajectory of how you think and how you see things. And so, even I'm assuming there could have been conversations that evolved around racism, and just him, he had to learn, and building a relationship with Meghan and knowing that she, is African American. There was things that he had to learn, and being able to contribute to that conversation, but just to learn more about her in general, and what that looks like and the controversy they were already going to receive based on the decision that he made. But it was just so interesting. I wasn't shocked because this is stuff that happens all the time. But it was just more of wow, this is so crazy. The stuff that they were going through, the things that they were cut off from, they were literally trying to, get away from it, but still take responsibility. They wasn't oh, I'm just going to leave. And all these rumors that they were just putting out there to make her look bad. It was never Prince Harry's fault. It was all Meghan. Meghan, is the one that came up with these schemes and decided to do this big Mexit and, convince Prince Harry to leave everything and didn't inform the Queen and stuff like that. It was just it was good to hear their side of the story, even though I had never heard the other side of the story anyway. So I was finding out everything at the same time. So that's pretty much my thoughts.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Jasmine.
Oh, no, you good.
Oh, I was about to just say there's an interesting wrinkle to this whole thing. So, of course, Piers Morgan had his to do about this whole thing, and he's kind of had an axe to grind with Meghan Markle from pretty much when she's become a thing in the press. So, to the point where he left his position at Good Morning Britain over the situation. But there's an interesting wrinkle that I've seen out here in the stratosphere. So apparently, and this is just according to people I've talked to about it, Piers Morgan went on a date with Meghan Markle. One date. Okay, it went reasonably well. So at the end of the date, Piers called a cab for Meghan to go to a party afterwards. So she gets in this cab to go to this party, and she meets Harry at the party, and then ghosts Piers and never talks to him again. So then,
wow.
I didn't know that.
Axe to grind. I don't know if someone making a joke, but I just found that hilarious. But yeah. And was there something you wanted to say, Jasmine? Because I had another angle into it, but
yeah. So I think kind of like what Mela was saying. I have never really followed them. I didn't watch the royal wedding. I'm not really interested, or was not really interested in what they were doing with their life. But I think hearing this interview, it just brought up some really good points. And first of all, I think Meghan was very eloquent while she was being interviewed. I think she was, trying to protect things that she needed to protect, but also be honest. So I appreciated that. As far as when she was saying that she was speaking to the institution or the firm about her struggles and how, she didn't want to be alive anymore and they weren't taking that seriously, that's a problem for me. I'm just it's already hard enough for people to even get to a place where they can admit there's something wrong or I'm feeling away. And a lot of people do suffer in silence. And so for her to actually get to a point where she's okay, this life that I'm living with you, I'm not safe. I don't feel like I'm safe. I don't feel like I can be left alone because I feel like I'm going to harm myself. Yeah. And the institution is just oh, you'll be all right. She could literally not be here right now. Right. Which is a problem. Yeah. And so things like that just make it be known still that people don't take mental health seriously. Yeah. Which is not okay. And so I thought that was really good for her to bring up and just, shine a light for, other people to understand it's okay to share in your struggles, but sharing to the right person is key. Because you might be turned away, which is sad. And she didn't feel like she had a safe space. So my other piece of that is thank God for Harry, for her husband, because, this is his life. This is what he's known. This is how he grew up. So he very well could have been we're staying here. This is my grandma. I have so much respect for her. We're not leaving, etc. But he took his wife's side and was no, you need to be safe. I want you to be safe. I want Archie to be safe. And so, whatever we got to do, we got to do. And if that means that I don't have this title no more, I don't have this money no more, I'm going with my wife, Right. So kudos to him.
Oh, yeah, that was.
Yeah, kudos to him. That was dope. You know what I'm saying? You named your son Archie. That's good.
What the heck, man? You just gonna come back on here and just freaking cracking jokes?
Hey, man, I lead with a joke first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My thoughts on this whole situation is comical as usual. I feel you know what I'm saying? First of all, it's a very serious situation, you know what I'm saying, with the whole family, especially if they really were attacking her in that fashion, because we had watched, you know what I'm saying, how things could play out with his mother, you know what I'm saying, because they weren't fond of his mother anyway, you know what I'm saying, too. So he don't seen that happen before, you know what I'm saying. And it was good of him to to recognize it. You know what I'm saying? And just like, man, this could become a potential problem. I do like living in the laps of luxury. You know what I'm saying? But I need to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to protect my family at the end of the day. Because as a man, that's his charge. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure your wife and your child are safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And good job on that. You know what I'm saying? But with the family, man, them jokers too ugly to have a problem with a baby, man. You seen how them people look? You seen their pictures? Them people ugly. They better be glad somebody came in that look like that. Because them people need an upgrade on the physical face side of the game. You seen the queen? Hey, you seen his uncle? You seen his dad? You seen his brother? He already bald. How you got that much money and you bald?
Well, you can't pay off genetics. Like, look at Charles. Like, that's,
man, it got to be a Bosley somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
You are just, oh my God.
now
you can get up under one of them hair sewing machines and get one of them things put on.
Oh my God! Get a unit. You want Harry to get it? You want him to get a unit?
Hey man, you see him on all the time. You see people be having these finger waves on their hair. Like, bro, I remember you from high school. You ain't had that kind of hair. He need to get one of them joints. Maybe he should get some waves.
And just some other waves that were made about this was.
Oh my God!
Was just
not you putting waves as a segue to what you.
I did that. I'm about to do it.
Hey, let me tell you something. Hey, he the best. That's why Stephen Neal is Stephen Neal, baby.
Speaking of waves, I was surfing the other day.
Oh man, so some waves that was made about this was just the colorism angle.
Yeah.
And not just the colorism she experienced, but what got my attention was Black people questioning whether she was entitled to her struggle, as if, because she's half white or she's not entitled to say that it's racism or what have you. And that really, I'm going to tell you guys, it strikes me personally, as a Caribbean descendant. That is kind of a constant dialogue that I've experienced, that because my parents don't have a direct line to Africa, or because things are a little bit different in the Caribbean, that it's not the same American racism that other Black people experience. Well, one thing, here in America, nobody can tell the difference. It exists, okay?
Yeah.
And we don't want to minimize the racism just because it's different.
Right.
It's different racism, but it's still racism.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and then second of all, just who is anybody in the experience to gatekeep? And
that would make me sick.
You know what I mean?
That part.
Like, all right,
gatekeep struggle.
and exactly, you can't do that. And the thing is, like, I've even heard some arguments like, well, we got to be that strict in order to get our proper reparations because they weren't a part of the struggle. So, and I was just like, that is just, so you're going to lessen our numbers in order to get a cause done? That doesn't even make any sense.
At all.
It doesn't even make any sense.
At all.
We're all a part of it. And the thing is, a mixed person by definition has at least one, person of color as a parent. So they are affected by the racism because their parent can't get a job or getting passed over for a job or getting treated unfairly. And that's going to trickle down to your family. So to say that they're not a part of it because they're less Black, I feel like that is such an ignorant take. And it's just something I've had to deal with personally. So it strikes me.
Yeah. And I think for Megan, it's like this double entendre. Like, she's not only mixed, but she's a woman.
That too.
I just feel like we're just, disrespected, when we use our voice. It's like our voices are, I won't say only tool, but it's one of the most powerful tools that we have. And it's like every time we speak or say something, somebody always has something to say. It's so like I was looking browsing through Facebook like I normally do, and my friends are really great at posting memes that make me laugh. But there was somebody that posted something, um, and it was this guy and this woman. They were working at the same firm, and basically he was trying to figure out why was it, that his coworker was having a hard time with these clients, as opposed to him. Like he would move through it smoothly. So they did an experiment where he acted as her and she acted as him. So she had a more productive week, and he kind of seemed just like it was. She had to even prove herself, like of who she was. Like she had to like prove to the client that she was capable of being able to handle this case before they could even get like over the hump of like to get to the issue. And the reason why I share that is because I think a lot of the times our point of views is overlooked just because of like who we are, like who we present ourselves to be, which are women. Like we can't change that, so it's like I just feel like a lot of stuff that was discredited was because it was just because she's a woman, and it's like, what right does she have? But on the other side of things, and kind of going back to what Jasmine was explaining in mental health, it was kind of interesting to hear Prince Harry also having mental health issues as well. Like he was reaching out for help and wasn't getting the help that he needed as well. And it's so interesting just how they undermine that and just kind of sweep it under the rug of like you said, oh, y'all be okay. Like this has been going on for generations and generations. It's like, but I'm even interested now to know the story of Prince Harry's mom, because he did make a comment that, when they did move over, and kudos to Tyler Perry, for letting them stay, at his house, providing them with security until they got back on their feet. But he did mention that, oh my God. He did mention that, his mom left him money, and a comment that he made was like, she probably already knew that it was going to come to this. So I'm wondering what was her experience. Maybe she wanted to get out too, and I mean, unfortunately, she passed away. So I feel like that was the only way that she was able to get out. So it's like right. Is that the cycle that they broke? It's like if they didn't choose to move, my only way out of this is death. And that is so extreme, but like that's literally what it communicated to me.
Yes, and, me and Darius talked about this last year when we opened season 3, when they renounced the throne. That Harry has always come out, like he said in the interview, and said that, I don't want to end up like Princess Diana, like, from a generation before. If you remember, Princess Diana was as big a celebrity in the world as there ever was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very beloved. Kind of in a similar vein, she was doing so well at the job, and that was mentioned in the interview, because everyone loved her, man. Like the tabloids were obsessed with her. And remember, this is before the internet. So all you had was the National Enquirer and the Globe to kind of keep up with these things.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much bridged those tabloids into today as far as being relevant. It's the royal family and our obsession with them.
Yeah.
So,
right.
But we had mentioned that he was concerned back then, and then now with everything that has gone on since they've renounced the throne, like, to the fact that they're just criticizing their every move, their locations are getting leaked. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy stuff. Like, just because he's not the prince anymore doesn't mean that he doesn't need security. People still want to get at him and his family, and that's still your family. But of course, the royal family, as we have been informed, it's a corporation.
Yeah.
It's a corporation, and it's almost
leak them secrets out.
And it's almost a corporation first.
Yeah.
It is, because it's the face of a country. You know what I'm saying? So if you got to play face, they want you to always be in good standing. You know what I'm saying? So they don't want you to be out here just gallivanting around, you know what I'm saying, possibly spreading secrets, because if you're a part of that royal line, you are privy to information that nobody in the public has. So, I mean, I understand what they're doing, and I understand why they're doing it, but you know what I'm saying? If the man just signed a waiver to just say, hey, I won't leave no secrets out here, I want to build my my queen and my little son Archie, and we just gonna live life in America. What does an out of work prince do? That's what I want to know. What kind of job you gonna have? It ain't no other prince jobs in America. Prince is gone. He was the only prince.
He can go to where what Zamunda.
Zamunda, good luck.
I mean, like he mentioned, like there are streaming deals in place, like because he's still famous. He, Meghan Markle, Archie, they're still gonna follow them just because of the narrative, whether they were in the royal family or not.
Yeah,
they just don't make money.
If they have a Netflix deal, that's a contract. They're gonna get some money out of
that. Who gonna watch? I just want to know somebody.
Someone will watch.
Oh, let me tell you.
Someone will watch.
There's an audience out there.
Why do people care about? And that make me wonder sometimes. I just be like, why do we care about what's going on across the pond? You know what I'm saying?
Because it's a form of escapism. It's like, I don't want to deal with what I got going on, so I'm gonna get caught up in somebody else's mess and try to help them solve the solution. When I need to be over here dealing with my own stuff.
I understand it. You know what I'm saying? I understand people always need a little something, you know what I'm saying, to take the edge off of how bad they feel life is. You know what I'm saying? Especially in a first world country. We are the most unhappy people on this planet. For real. Like, if you look at America as a whole, like mental health wise and all that stuff like that, we are unhappy. You know what I'm saying? And, Meghan Markle, she went over there. She experienced some more unhappiness. You know what I'm saying? Because she is from America, right? Like,
yeah,
she's an American,
full-blooded American.
You know what I'm saying? So she understands, but she was beautiful in America, and then she went to a family where they deemed that being of any race is not beautiful, but they ugly. And so I feel the confusion that she was like looking in the mirror, like in America I was beautiful, but I'm over here and these old ugly people telling me that I'm not beautiful, and my baby ain't gonna be beautiful. Bro, you seen the queen? She ugly. You seen his daddy?
Don't put the queen in that. She was the
not condone.
According to the interview,
Bella, and I do not condone.
According to the interview, the queen had Harry's back.
Don't come for me. That's what I'm saying.
The uncle was ugly. The one that was in the incest was ugly. All of them was ugly.
Well, this was an interesting conversation. This is why Oprah still makes the big bucks, like over a decade after being off television. Like, can you imagine that she has stayed this relevant without having an actual show?
You know why? Because she's staying in everybody's business, her and Gail. They always sitting around figuring out what they can get their hands on to stir somebody's pot. And they got the biggest spoon in the game.
But I will tell you, I will say this. So you notice that Tyler Perry reached out to Meghan and Harry. Tyler Perry signed a deal with Viacom. Who owns Viacom? CBS. CBS also has its own network.
Let me tell you something. Tyler Perry didn't know how to make money. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That man finessed the game so hard. Every time I think about Tyler Perry, I like that man don't finesse the game so hard in so many ways. Hey man, I don't even know how he do it half the time. He's Superman for real. He a real life Superman. And he don't save everybody that touch him. He's just like, hey, you on the street, you look like you can make people laugh. You want to come work for me? Oh, you just came from the UK, you coming back? Hey man, you can live in my mansion up on the hill. Nobody won't bother you. You know what I'm saying? That's how. The one thing I get from Tyler Perry, be generous. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you operate in gratitude and generosity,
man.
That looked like a Myron Abernathy smile. But
come on. You can't be pulling people into this.
I cannot.
Shout out Smooth Cosplayer.
Shout out Smooth Cosplayer. I enjoyed your internet streaming debut.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, this was a great conversation, man.
It was.
It really opened up a lot of topics. So we're going to get into some more topics involving our special guest, Jasmine Brown. But before we do that, I'll just like to remind you guys to like, share, and subscribe to everything we got going on, including this broadcast. We want to extend a hello to Twitch. We're doing this for the first time. So if you just happen to be in the neighborhood, welcome. And also go back, if you're on YouTube and Facebook, go back to our previous episodes that we have recorded, and also on podcasts where you can get the complete collection from episode 1 to episode now.
Yeah. So, episode 1.5.
All that. So thank y'all for watching.
Thank y'all. We appreciate y'all and all that. Tell your mom and them to get on here because they ain't doing that but cooking collard greens.
Nothing but. But now we're gonna cook up an interview with Jasmine.
These segues, man. You're just killing it, man.
Oh man. So Jasmine, we understand that you, like your husband that has been on the show before, is in social work.
Yes, very.
So what grabbed you about, we asked him what grabbed him about social work in his field. So tell us about your field and how you got into it from the social work side of the game.
Sure. So I've been a social worker now for about 8 years. Doesn't even seem that long. I feel like when I tell people like how I got here, I always say that I feel like I've been in this role my whole life. I grew up with, a lot of addiction surrounding me, and unbeknownst to me, mental health challenges as well, like in my family. And so I always wanted to change that and just kind of see, what I could do to help it, moving forward. And so I didn't know what I wanted to go to grad school for. I was a sociology and psychology major in undergrad. And then I thought I wanted to be a psychiatrist. And then I was like, but I don't like science and I'm not going to med school. So I was like, okay, what else can I do? And I thought about counseling, but I wanted to do more, not only counsel, but have like other things that I could do. So social work, I just kind of fell into this. And so in the past, I had a particular interest in like children, but that changed very quickly. I definitely prefer not to work with the kiddos. I love them, but no. So adults are where my heart is. For a very, very long time, it was strictly, all I did was mental health and substance abuse. So I interned and worked in psychiatric hospitals across in Athens and then also in Atlanta as a social worker. And so, I would do like family sessions. I've done groups. I've done, like psychoeducational types of things. I've done like coaching, if you will, and did that for years. But got burned out because it's very taxing on your own mental health. And I just found myself being more anxious than I really wanted to be, and carrying work home, which is not something that I was okay with. And so, I, through God and close friends, got the current job I have, working at one of the local medical facilities here. And so I've been here for 5 years, and it's been great. I currently do discharge planning. So to not get into all the nitty gritty details, but basically, social workers in medical hospitals, at least with what I do, because my husband and I do different things. I do is coordinate aftercare. So I currently work neurosurgery. That's my field now, but I used to work general and GI surgery. But basically, setting up what it looks like for your loved one to leave the hospital. I'm the person you speak to coordinate if they need anything for home. So if they need any kind of nursing setup, physical therapy, occupational therapy, if they need any kind of equipment like oxygen or a walker, if they basically all the services that they need for home. I'm responsible for coordinating that care for them. So that is the gist of what I do currently.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, so so just kind of the day to day, or just like I had a question. Come back to me. Come back to me, guys.
No, I would say so I know like just working with people in general, that like you said, there's so many different things that you're managing. Like you're managing that person's feelings, their their thoughts, everything. And like you said, it can come to a place where you actually take those things home. Where like how did you start to kind of manage like that? Like manage understanding like, okay, you have to take care of yourself personally too, as you're dealing with these, different clients and their different needs as well.
Yeah, so I think my husband definitely helps with that. Him being a social worker himself and just being the man that he is in general. He always wants to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, and holding me accountable to that. And so I think that is something that helped me to recognize. Like obviously, he's the closest person to me, so he recognizes like something's not right. Maybe this is not the environment that you need to be any longer. And so just like working through those things and what it would look like for me not to be in that environment anymore. And then like with my current job, I actually love what I do. So also him, still helping, or us helping each other really, being able to talk it through. If we have a challenge, like with a particular patient or anything, just kind of running things by each other. But also like, making sure that I seek supervision from my supervisor. As far as like things that I may be struggling with, so that I don't take those things home, because, what happens at work, I don't need to bring that into the house. Like it's not, Russ or Zoe's fault, like why I had a bad day or why I had a, difficult patient, and why I got cursed out by a family member because they're hurting. I shouldn't bring those things home to them. So, being able to seek supervision and get, the advice and assistance I need to take better care of myself is what I would say.
That's good. I'm glad that you have that support system, because I just know like, I know with like my dad being a therapist, that was the biggest thing. Like, it's one thing where, because he worked with teenage boys who majority of them didn't really grow up with a father. So, there's a lot of emotions, that he takes on with that. Well, he took on with that when he was in that role. And, it wasn't like direct, but you can kind of tell like there was a lot of things that he carried, like emotions that he carried, because he cared so much that he started to take things personal. Sometimes it felt like, he was taking out on us, but it was more of like, I just got to get this out. And so, the importance of having that team that you can kind of vent those things to and then kind of redirect you I think is super important. So that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a question for you too. So, all right, this is a kind of tracking question. Like, how did you find yourself into, what I'm saying, your current field? Like, if you was to tell somebody how to get into the profession that you are currently in, how would you, what would be the best approach to getting in this field?
So one thing I'll say, so social work is so broad. That's like the thing that I love about it. So like I said, my husband and I are both social workers, but we do two completely different things. And then we also have very close friends that are social workers, but we all work in different arenas. So I just so happen to work at a medical facility. He just so happens to work at an oncology clinic. But we have friends who work with geriatric patients. We have friends who work with children. We have people we know who are, lobbying and things like that. A more macro approach. And so I think at the very basic level to get here, obviously you have to have an undergraduate degree of some sort, and then go on to grad school to receive your MSW, Master's of Social Work. And then so with the Master's of Social Work program, there's a clinical track in most institutions, there's a clinical track and a community track. And so the clinical track is geared more toward like counseling and more like one-on-one group type therapy. And then like community track is more like the macro level, you know, I want to, you know, write policies and laws and things like that. I definitely was not interested in that. I was strictly on the clinical track. But while you're in school, the cool thing about it is that you have internships. So there's an internship your second semester of your grad program in the first year, where you kind of get your feet wet, if you will, and you're assigned there. You don't get to choose. So I was a job coach at Goodwill. I worked with, I worked with people that had disabilities. Like a lot of them were veterans, or those who had like intellectual disabilities. And so it was like teaching them like job skills and like, you know, what they could do so that, you know, they can, you know, be productive members of society, because that's what they wanted, but they just needed a little bit more assistance to do that. And then like your second year, you have your internship the entire year. And that one you actually choose yourself. So my internship, my second year, I worked at a crisis stabilization unit. And so it was like a 12-bed unit where people would come from the like emergency department, and, you know, they would come psychotic, high, I mean, you both, you know, you name it, I saw it. I have stories for days. So that's kind of how, you know, I fell into the mental health substance abuse track. But yeah, at a very basic level, yes. Undergrad, graduate school, internship, and then you kind of get your feel for like what your interest is, and then you know, you apply for jobs and see where you land.
Wow. Hey, that's real interesting. I didn't realize that there was a community track as far as affecting policy. So
I didn't either, because I just thought, you know what I'm saying, show up at somebody's home that whooping their kids or putting their eye into somebody's face like Penny, and you get the child and take them away. And you know what I'm saying? And the parent need to get a whooping. That's what I thought social work
Not
was
like Penny, man.
Yeah, we used to have like this ongoing joke in my grad program that social workers are not just baby snatchers. Like,
oh my God.
I mean, because that's all I ever seen.
All I've ever known.
Okay. All right. So while we're on this, what do you feel that media portrays about social workers that don't really exist in the real world?
Yeah, so that is what I think that the media portrays about social workers. Like, is that, you know, social workers are coming to your home because somebody has reported you or said something that you've done to your children. The teacher or the counselor at school has called. And so, you know, we're coming to like tear up your family apart, essentially. And to be honest, people who actually work for like the Department of Family and Children Services, like, that is not their goal. The goal, generally speaking, is reunification of a family, not to tear them apart. So those are like huge myths with social work. And then I think like the larger myth too is that like that's all that we do. Like, but there's so much more. Like I just told y'all, like all of our different friends who are social workers, don't any of us do the same thing. So I think it's just so broad. And then like we also have friends who are social workers, but they do counseling. Like they do one-on-one counseling, they do couples therapy, you know, things like that. Some of them are in ministry. So like there's so many different ways you could go about this. So I think that's the big myth.
And see, I'm telling you, I promise you, that's exactly what I thought from TV. I just like, dang, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be nobody to walk in and take somebody's baby from them. Because every time I watch, you know, SVU or Law and Order, you know, I was like, hey, that person gonna come in with a baggy suit on, or she gonna come in there with the church mother blazer and skirt with the white shirt, coming in and be like, you an unfit parent. Now come on, baby, let me take you somewhere safe. That's all I have to say.
That was the next thing. They all think that we're like old and just grumpy. and depressed, and that is so not true. That is so not true.
But see, they don't really show the elements that you shared though for the majority of the part. Like that's why we all thinking like, okay, this person's gonna come in because they've been contacted, and they never really show that reunification though. It's automatic like, all right, this is a bad environment for this child, so we're just gonna rip them out and put them into the system or whatever. There's never really been in media, as I've seen, whether it's a show or whatever the case may be. I never really saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like our larger goal is to protect vulnerable populations. Like that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that vulnerable person is a 5-year-old or someone who's 88, that's our larger goal.
Yeah.
So y'all like the regulators of society. You know what I'm saying? Y'all put things back right, like, hey, sit down. Because I remember in the 90s, and that old lady used to look back at the parent like, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And take the baby out. Or the old person out. Or whoever out. Mariah Carey and Mariah. See, exactly. When I seen Precious, Mariah Carey made me think that like they just look worn out. I like, hey, why they got Mariah Carey looking like she just don't want to be here no more?
No,
you know what I'm saying? Heroin did or nothing.
She looked dead in that. Like,
she did.
Like her skin was so bad. Oh
she was so bad.
It was terrible.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
But where did they get that concept from?
That's what I'm saying. Where they get it from?
Law and Order.
Didn't they do this? Are they supposed to do research in the field? To be at least a bit accurate. I understand the drama, to it all, but still, like there has to be some legitimacy. So I don't even know how they got to that.
Right, and I think that's just like. So it's just such a small piece because even if you watch shows like Grey's Anatomy, like, and they call for the social worker, there's always like a kid involved, or it's always like, I think this person may be being hurt like by their spouse or their boyfriend or whoever it is. It's always a situation like that, but that's like not always true.
Yeah,
exactly. Oh, it's a grandma locked in the basement and the grandson stealing the checks. They don't never talk about like, hey, we just here to basically mediate a situation in order to bring upon a compromising solution. They don't never show that part. They just show the grandma in the basement, ain't got a nightgown on, it ain't been washed in 2 months.
And unfortunately, those things are true also.
Oh, so for real?
Yeah.
It happened to somebody, I suppose. Yeah, it happened to somebody.
Yeah.
Because I believe it was a dude in my neighborhood like that. We ain't see we ain't see him a lot. He didn't go out till the first of the month. Yeah, I remember that. Sad.
Wow. That's crazy.
But
oh my gosh. So you did talk a little bit about how you got into the work, like what keeps you motivated. I know like just with any career, I think it's hard, like not hard, it can be a challenge to like stay motivated. Like some days you get up and you're like, yes, I'm ready. And the other days it's like, I really don't want to go. But like it doesn't take away from your passion for it. But like what keeps you motivated?
Yeah, I think the thing that keeps me motivated is just realizing that like this is bigger than me. Like just focusing on something that's larger than myself. And I think just knowing that like I affect change keeps me motivated. So, even though it may not be like on a large scale or where people are seeing me do it, but knowing like how, I am the person responsible for, assisting families at their most vulnerable time, I think it's something that keeps me motivated. And I think about, if it were me on the other side, like, how would I want that to look like if I was ever sick, or if Russ was ever sick and the social worker like came into like our hospital room, like how would I want them to be? What would I want them to say to me? Like, how would I want them to comfort me or him? So I think things like that are what keep me motivated and what keep me wanting to continue on and continue helping. I mean, you do have those rough days where, I mean, to be honest, I have been cursed out by families. I've been yelled at. I've been called out of my name, things like that. But I think the opposite of that is what keeps me coming back, because, I do get those phone calls like, if it wasn't for you, my dad wouldn't have what he needs at home, or, you, even though my loved one was dying, like you were there in the room, you were holding my hand, like you were present, like when nobody else was there, and then with COVID going on right now, I feel like it's an even bigger deal, because a lot of times, like I'm the go-between the family, the patient, the doctor, the nurses, and all the other teams that are, helping the patient. Like, these family members aren't allowed to come to the hospital. They aren't allowed to like know what's going on with their family member. So I'm like their safe person. Like, I'm the one who they can call and get updates because they can't reach the doctor. I'm the one they're calling when, the patient gets moved to a different floor and they don't know what happened. Or I'm the go-between, like, if I wasn't there, who would be the one doing all this? So I think that's what keeps me motivated.
Yeah, I think that's good, man. Because when you understand that it's bigger than you, like that should be the motivation. I know that's something for me too. It's just like when I understand like the bigger picture is like people are going to be impacted, and the way, and if I continue to show up, like especially like when you say like have families cussing you out, like I can only imagine the stress and the patience needed for something like that, because it's like you don't want to get out of character, because this is somebody that you're caring for. But somebody asked a question like, would you and Russ would ever want to open your own practice?
Oh, my husband is probably more interested in doing like therapy than I am. Like he is such like the better like listener, and like because he actually does counseling like with his patients. Like I don't necessarily do that. Like I do like snippets of that, but like he actually has clients that like he follows. So I don't know. Like if that's God's plan, amen. But I don't know about like right now if that's something that I particularly would want.
What do you think about Zoe? Like, do you feel like would you be open to her showing interest in this same type of career?
Sure. I mean, like with her, like we want her to do whatever God calls her to do, whatever she is interested in. I think we will support that. I think the bigger thing is we want her to be a woman who wants to help. We want her to be someone who advocates for others. Like we want her to be, someone who wants to affect change in the world. So however she can do that, I think we'll be down for it.
What are some jewels you'll get somebody that's about to embark on the journey of social work? Like, what are some things, some do's, some don'ts, or just anything that you have to offer somebody that's about to, step into this realm?
One, get your own therapist.
Yes.
Number one, go to therapy and check your own stuff before you try to help anybody else. I think that no matter what type of social worker you are, like no matter what kind of environment you work in, I think it's all very difficult. It's all very challenging, and it can be taxing on your mental health. And so to prevent countertransference, which is basically me putting my stuff on them and then transferring them, putting their stuff on me, like to prevent any of that, I think, we need to seek our own help and get our own, advice so that we can deal with our stuff so that we don't put it on our patients, our clients. So that's one thing I would say to do. Another thing I would say to do is just find your voice, like, and advocate for yourself. I notice, like, with a lot of social workers, like, we are great advocates for other people, but when it comes to advocating for ourselves, whether it be making more money at our job, whether it be, advocating for our own family, whether it be advocating at our own doctor's appointments, I think sometimes we can fall short. And so I think, us finding our own voice and being our own advocate is also important, and not just advocating for our clients and our patients.
Yeah.
So I would say those are like key. Get your own therapist, find your voice, be your own advocate. And like I know everybody throws around this self-care term.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself, but it's really true. You have to take care of yourself, and you have to figure out, I think, early on what that looks like for you, and then understand that no matter what phase of life you're in, that your self-care may change, because my self-care before I was a wife looks different than my self-care now, as a wife and as a mother. Like, you may have to fit it in differently. But you need to do it. So that, because if you're not taking care of you, then you can't be present for your spouse. You can't be present for your children, and you really can't be present, for the clients, patients, families that you're trying to assist every day. You're going to be pouring from an empty cup.
Yeah. That's good.
Those are good.
That was good.
Yeah, the therapy part, I can only imagine, just from the stories that you shared, it's imperative as you're going through it, but even before you go through it, it's just, like the things that you are going to have to take on, other people's emotions. So if you're not dealing with your own, I can only imagine what that would look like once you start dealing with other people's.
And what is something you would say that you may have learned in the past year, in your profession, that has been vital, to you, or is it just something good that you picked up in the past year in your profession?
One thing I feel like I've learned this year is flexibility is key. So, like March 2020, like before March 2020, we were going to work, doing life as usual, and then here comes coronavirus. And so like everything about my job changed. So I typically go in every day, come home, but now we're on this system where I work 1 week at the hospital, and then I work 1 week remotely, and so that's something that's new. So that was an adjustment. And then the flexibility, like with the schedule, like I cannot tell y'all how many times, our schedule had changed at work because of everything going on. We've had so many people. So I guess I didn't say this. I'm also a preceptor at my job. So along with covering my neurosurgery floor, I also train the new hires. So training for me looks different. Like, trying to coordinate what that looks like, dealing with people leaving, for various reasons, like another thing to be flexible on. And then just like the not really knowing like what is going on. Like, it would be like at 9:00 we get an email about one thing, and then by 3, the whole plan has changed.
Wow.
So I think flexibility is like the largest thing I learned in my job this past year, is that I have to be flexible, and I have to just go with the flow, because and just expect the change. So like if nothing is changing, it's like, oh, okay, we're coasting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely understandable. That's good. Another question. What are some things that you would like to see come about? You know what I'm saying? And this is probably like a whimsical dream type question. What is something that you would like to see come about in our society that needs to change in your field?
Oh, there's so many. I think that one thing that like kind of upsets me is that people don't value social workers in the way that I feel like they should. And so I think like our value doesn't show in regards to the amount of money we make. I feel like it doesn't show in the amount of respect that we receive from like our higher ups. And so I think financially and with the respect piece, I think those are like 2 big things that I would love to see a change in. I think like, yes, everybody has their role, especially in the medical field. There's doctors, there's nurses, there's, phlebotomists, there's lab techs, there's, cafeteria staff, there's, maintenance staff, etc. But just speaking, from this standpoint, I do feel like in the position that I have, a lot of times the social worker is the glue. We're the one who is communicating between so many different teams and departments, and we're the one to coordinate all of this care. And the doctor, obviously they're doing a lot, and they're signing off, at the end to say that all of this is okay. But give credit to the people who helped you coordinate all of this, who did the talking for you, who is calling these families and checking on them, doing the things that you don't necessarily want to do, but these are things that also have to be done.
Right.
Yeah. That's what's up. I feel like a lot of that is needed in any realm. Like I feel like the people that are the glue in most situations get not paid attention to because they just look over and just like, oh no, you're supposed to be there. You know what I'm saying? So we don't want to think about, or we don't want to give you your just due. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that is something that really does need to change in our society. Understand that the people that are holding things together need their due. You know what I'm saying? They need their pay. They need their respect because, hey, we couldn't do it without you.
Yep, absolutely. I just appreciate this conversation as a whole. And it just reminds me of a lot of professions that's really overlooked in this way. Especially speaking to social workers. I feel like I've learned a lot just in this discussion, and just kind of like pretty much dismantling the stereotype, that we see in media, and understanding the true importance of your role in society and your role within your field, and how you really keep things together. So I do appreciate, you being able to open up and share about that. And really educate all of us, honestly, on, what it is, versus one, like how you guys are portrayed versus like what it really is. And I highly respect you as a person, as a woman already, but like my respect goes to you and those in the social worker field like that much more just from what you shared today.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, for real, because I just feel like, what I'm saying, we don't know things, what I'm saying? And I feel like that's the goodness of this platform. We don't interview people that we had an idea what things were, but when they sit down and give us the time and the conversation, they really break it down. We're like, oh, I had a real bad view of that situation. I've learned something new. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to we got to put respect on y'all name, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Put respect on the name, man.
Yes.
And I'll just want to say that you guys are definitely the true definition of essential workers.
Yes.
I'm trying to say,
very essential.
Hard to perceive that, or we always assign that to certain positions, but you guys do essential work for a lot of different people too, a lot of different other professions. So,
exactly.
You
Joe
and Russ and
Joe Biden put in your new legislation to pay the social worker $150,000 a year.
I mark it. Trademark.
Give them a permanent
stimmy. Give them a permanent stimmy.
All right, this is today, March 14th at 5:59. This has been declared. So if that actually happens, let's come right back to this mark.
We put the bill on the floor. We're the lobbyists that put the bill on the floor.
Hey, you know what? A social worker would be there for that bill to help. Right?
Hey, listen. Right, exactly.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Make sure everything in the contract is correct.
Yeah, exactly. Because you got to get them their money. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people. Hey, man, because like I tell people, man, some of the hardest jobs in the world, people don't even think about. It's just like I see social work and hearing the aspect of social work you work in, and knowing that there's other parts that people deal in. Like I tell you, I can't even see myself doing it. So I wouldn't dare downplay it because I was like, man, people that have the heart to do those things, man, they special. You know what I'm saying? You really have to be called to that. That ain't no, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna do that type job. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't like going to McDonald's and putting a hat on.
What you say,
Des? It's hard work, but it's heart work, literally. Like you have to want to.
Yeah. Man.
Exactly. I learned something today. I like that.
did. This is very good.
Exactly.
This was an awesome conversation with Jasmine Brown,
Woo.
social worker. But we have come to this part of the podcast, our final thoughts. So
Yeah.
basically, just to summarize whatever we've talked about or something you want to plug at the end of the show, this is your time to do it. So we're going to start with our special guest. What are your final thoughts,
Oh
Jasmine Brown?
man. Final thoughts. Let's see. Take care of yourself, guys. Like, this world that we live in it's challenging every day in multiple aspects. So just do your part. Be responsible for taking care of yourself. Be your own advocate. If you don't know what that looks like, find someone who does and that can help you along the way. Make sure you have a squad in place that you can lean on, that you can, get support from. When you are battling, no matter what field you work in, when you are battling, just struggles at work, at home, just in life in general, just have a squad, have someone you can lean on and ask for help. Take care of yourself and just learn to be, your own advocate.
That's good.
That's good. Final thoughts, old Mela G. Come down the lane.
Spinal thoughts.
Hey,
Okay.
you didn't hear that.
I did. My spine is okay. My final thoughts is know your worth. I think I really enjoyed the Megan conversation today. Just being able to give our different, perspectives in that regards, and I appreciate our audience today for enjoying, that conversation as well. It definitely made it lively.
Man,
But I would end with, knowing your worth, and knowing that your voice is powerful, especially as a woman. I am just so grateful, just the amount of people in leadership who have pretty much stepped up to the plate to be this example, that we can do anything is possible, and it being women's history, International Women History Month, right? Women History Month. Being able to celebrate women all month long has just been really, really encouraging. I myself have been just shouting out women here and there, texting different women, just reminding them of who they are and what they mean to me. And so I will say, Jasmine, I know we don't, talk as much, but one thing that I always appreciated about you is just your vulnerability and your willingness to give. And I think, directly, indirectly, you've impacted my life in a way that just makes me want to be consistent. And so I don't think I've ever shared that with you, but I think there's things that I see that I don't necessarily always communicate to you directly. But I do appreciate you. And I think from this conversation today, it just it's like I have that much more respect for you, and who you are as a woman and what you do in your field of social work. So I love you deeply and dearly.
No, you too, sis.
And that will be my final thoughts.
All right, final thoughts, Stephen Neal.
Well, I definitely enjoyed this episode overall, but I also was intrigued by the possibility of the different avenues of social work, that there's even some involvement involving policy, because I've just become engaged more into what's going on with my hometown, Stonecrest, Georgia, and then trying to kind of get things off the ground, whether it's commerce or, economics, stuff like that. So it's interesting that social work could come into play when making decisions and what to put in the town and what to build up and whatnot. Because I think it's important because, I've spent about 35 years of my life in a predominantly Black community. So I think having social workers as dedicated as you, Russ, we got Corey in the game as well. Alice, just people in that line of work community side of the game. If they're committed to y'all, then we can have some very enriched communities.
Yeah.
Especially around here in South DeKalb, which, you know, like I said, Stonecrest is my hometown, so I'm very passionate about it. So, so it's interesting, has my wheels turning, but you know what I mean? You know, I'm trying to go where God has me, but yes, I was very enriched by that information. And I would just say, you know, we're into 2021 right now, and you know, people are trying to get their goals kicked off. I'm encouraged to see, you know, Darius helping his brother get, you know, things off the ground with his podcast, and then supporting him in, you know, his seminars and whatnot. Mela has things going, like she's mentioned this year, you know, where we might be here in the studio. We might be in the studio together again, maybe with some glass shields or something to start. You know what I mean? I'll figure something out with the camera to get us all in the same shot. It won't be hard. It ain't that big. But, you know, just being fearless in your dreams, guys.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, if what you initially set out in January isn't working out, then alter your course or change your course. You know what I mean? Or just, you know, find you a first mate or an experienced captain to help you steer the ship. So just had all that in my final thoughts because it was that great a conversation. And so that's me for final thoughts.
All right.
Final thoughts, Darius J.
All right. I will say my final thoughts.
Dang, what's going on with your mouth today?
Sleepy. I would say one thing I have learned. Yeah, one thing I have learned is just like over the past few months, you know what I'm saying, coming out of 2020 is just gratitude, you know what I'm saying, and honesty and having friends, you know what I'm saying. I feel like all that stuff is necessary. I feel like this conversation that we just had just touched on the fact that, you know, you need people around you. You need a team. You need a team of strong people, but vulnerable people, you know what I'm saying, to be able to, you know what I'm saying, be able to turn you towards the mirror, you know what I'm saying, for allow you to see yourself or even lift one up to your face and see where you are currently right now. Because a lot of times lately, this has been a very difficult thing for people in all aspects of life to handle, you know what I'm saying. And sometimes even like we get to the point where we don't pay attention or we get into just going and being a robot and just consistently doing things, but not breaking out. And just like I like what Stephen Hill was talking about, like just going after your dreams, you know what I'm saying? And if that path is not the right path, don't say it ain't your dream. Just say that I may need to figure out or talk to somebody to get the right approach, you know what I'm saying? Because like lately I learned, like if you ask questions, you can get answers, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we don't ask people the things that we need to ask. We'll rather just sit there and not gain knowledge and just think life is handing us a bad deal, instead of just saying, man, I may need to ask somebody that's further down the road. Because like one thing my granddad used to tell me, like, I don't been your age, you ain't been mine. You know what I'm saying? So having that approach with people in your career, because sometimes you may be at the Padawan stage of your career and they are at an advanced level. And if you want to get to that level, why not get the tutelage of that person? Why not get mental health to sort out your self-sabotaging ways? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we have things that we deal with and we don't even recognize it. We just think that's just something that happens. But a lot of things happen because something in your life has affected that to make that a part of your life. And we have to change that. You know what I'm saying? We have to grow. You know what I'm saying? We have to develop our minds and our hearts and our emotions, because emotional intelligence is a very strong thing to have. You know what I'm saying? Along with intelligence. You know what I'm saying? But we need to learn how to be able to tap into both and to grow. And, you know what I'm saying, just really walk in the path that God wants us to walk in. Because if we don't, we'll miss the destination. You know what I'm saying? We'll land somewhere else in life and not what God wants us to be. And I'd rather walk into my destiny.
That's good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, everybody, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Another show in the books. Thankful for Jasmine Brown coming along and joining us. She is one of the first ones that ever really support us in the game hard. We're glad to have her on.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Convrs8 super fan.
The Brown show love. I'm telling you that right now. You know what I'm saying?
Fans.
We appreciate having you on the show. We appreciate you having a conversation with us, allowing us to ask you questions. You know what I'm saying? It's always good to have fam on. You know what I'm saying? You know, it was a good show. I feel good about it.
This was a good show, y'all.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was just thinking, I'm like, man, it was a good show.
The comments was lit.
Yeah.
The live audience. Thank you, audience.
Thank y'all, audience. For real.
Thank y'all, audience.
Thank y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all was out here talking to us. I like that.
Right. Asking questions.
Next week, you better be back here. The next time you better be back. Yes, y'all.
All right. Perfect.
I don't want you just showing up now and then next time we have a show, you ain't there no more. I need to see this kind of action all the time.
I need the same energy.
Exactly.
So I'm glad you said that, Darius, because we're about to reveal who our next guest is. So Mela, as usual, I need a drum roll. And it is.
Oh, I thought that was me.
Oh my God. This is about to be the funniest show between Sharon and Darius. It's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
Hey,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to be up there.
Please come back, y'all, because it's going to be a good discussion. I don't know what we're talking about yet, but
Lincoln County going to be in the building, you feel me? You know what I'm saying?
God.
Straight country boys. You know what I mean?
Oh, God. This is going to be
I might have my shotgun mounted on the back.
Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying?
And I would just like to point out that, you know, as soon as me and Darius got our studio space up, Mela just went to the Matrix on us. And she was just like, I'm just going to get it done.
No, what happened was the person who is the studio manager here was supposed to set up the table on the green screen, but he didn't do that. So I had to set it up myself. So I already have a conversation happening, you know.
Okay.
But you know,
Mela said, when I get into the meeting on Monday, things gonna change.
I had to improvise for this episode.
I feel you improvise well.
You improvise well.
You know, you have the white screen going. Like
I have my two lights here. The studio lights are off, so it's like
you're on a Vogue answering 100 questions. You're killing it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, yeah, everybody, we appreciate y'all. This was Convrs8.
Yes, we talked about it.
Yeah.